Hello. Good morning. I chose to sit with you this morning live because I didn't want this to get away from me. And it would have taken a lot longer for me to sit and type all of this out and probably make less sense. So I just thought I'd bring it to you in person. And let me go ahead and show you the chart so that I can show you what shadow work I've been dealing with this week. This is the chart for today. And if I get this out of the way real quick, it always seems like I'm not prepared, like I have a million tools. And that's great. There. As you can see, we're forming between Jupiter here up to Venus, and she's moving in on Juno right there in an inconjunct. However, the part I've been dealing with this week has to do with this 22nd degree of Chiron and this Jupiter at 22 degrees right there. Siva is over in Capricorn on the other side at 21 degrees. And if you don't know what Siva represents in the chart, this would be the Hindu version for Jehovah, for God, basically, but it's the Hindu version like that. And it forms in itself its own square position. And I wanted to just sit with you for a bit on that and talk about it. Let me go ahead and draw it in so that you can see what I'm talking about. Right there, that square piece between God, Jupiter at 22 degrees, and Chiron at 22 degrees. Chiron's been in Aries for a very long time, and it should be going direct. Right now it's retrograde, but it should be going direct in 2026, I think in the early part. So, as some of you know, I have been in therapy again for the millionth time. I'm back with the VA, doing it through San Antonio's VA system with a really good doctor, really great doctor. And it is probably my third class for PTSD, except this time it's in a group. A lot of the information is repeat. However, there's, nothing good like committing yourself to listening and seeing what else can pop up. In my 12-step program through Al-Anon, I had a recovering alcoholic once tell me, your job is to sit there and your job is to listen. And God will always speak. In every meeting, God will always speak if you wait for it and if you listen to it. There will always be one thing that'll hit you and you'll know it was from God directly to your heart. And that was from a trusted friend from years ago. So I'm sitting in the meeting this last Wednesday, actually, and we are working through Marsha Linneman's information. I am one of those people that I mean, you could say that I suffer, because I do. In my own personal chart, if I show you what that looks like over here, I have the sun in the 12th house conjunct Ophelia, and I'll plug Ophelia in right there so that you can see what it looks like for me personally. And I'll go ahead and put the transits on top of it too, so you can understand. Over here, let me erase that. On the left side of the screen, you have the South Node right now that's moving over Siva, which is God, conjunct my Mercury in the 12th house. And if you look just a little bit lower than that, you'll see the sun is at 22 degrees, Vista is at 22 degrees, and Ophelia is at 24 degrees. For me, Ophelia represents the suicide that I deal with, that is hidden in the 12th house, that is a mystery to deal with. And this has been a lifelong journey of not just educating myself, but finding a way out, looking at patterns in myself and in others, looking at programs like Marsha Lineman. And I think her book actually is the first book that has ever been written on a methodology of trying to deal with suicide issues and how to prevent even getting to that point. I have been hospitalized 3 times, and those were the only times I got caught doing it. And not only did it wreck my life, completely ripping away so much, it hurt many other people that were attached to it as well. And in the 12th house, this is something, especially after Pluto has gone through Capricorn. That is the pure definition of depression right there. Capricorn rules depression, right? And you send in Pluto to cruise through there for the last 25 years. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of that. We're going to have a lot of people that dip that low. Don't forget that we also have an entire generation of children that were born during the 25 years that Pluto was in Capricorn. And as those children grow into adults closer to their first Saturn return, 27 through 31 years old, there's going to be a lot of these kids that grow up into that idealization. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's there. It's present. It is a reality. So to have people like Marsha Lineman, who's brave enough to actually throw herself under a bus so that she can express what it is that she learned. To have people like me, even though I've silently been doing it for years, I don't shy away from it. I don't run from it. I express to people when I go out into public, that it has been a lifelong challenge for me. I don't lie. Why lie? To me, it's a reality. The ones that shy away, it's only because they don't know what to do. And so when you have folks that are diligent with this, my Mercury presence right there, diligent, to not be ashamed, but to actually pick up the cross and go, I'll be your huckleberry. I'll be your huckleberry. I'll take you on. Because this has got to stop. The treatment socially of what happens to we folks who have this, folks like Robin Williams, right? I remember when it happened to Robin Williams and I pulled up his chart, he had a strong Ophelia presence as well. Kate Spade, y'all remember that when that happened? I have her purses. I love her line, Kate Spade line. Like I like Tiffany's line, I like Audrey Hepburn. That's my style. I love that, Audrey Hepburn. But Kate Spade, the way that she committed suicide, the way she did it, I pulled up her chart. I did. I wanted to see the transits for how and what she was dealing with. I'll also let you guys know that I am an evolutionary astrologer. Okay. I chose evolutionary astrology because of what it teaches us about how the heck we got like this, the circle, right? The never-ending loop over and over and over again. Dr. Sandra Wilson, one of my favorites. Man, that book got thrown to me in like 2011, I want to say. And it was a doctor, a chiropractor. No, not him. It was somebody else. But it was during that time frame. That book was handed to me, and it's hurt people hurt people. which is true, and the family cycle of this that goes on. There are people in my ancestry line on my paternal side that seriously had an issue with depression and suicide. I have siblings who have this as well. I have nieces who have this as well, the signature. And in my family line, I think I know I'm not the only one that has sought help, but I know that I'm the only one that came at it as aggressively as I did. Because I'm here to find the pattern. You see it, Mercury in the 12th, next to Siva. I'm coming to get it. You know, evolutionary astrology has provided me a way to understand where the psychological part of things like this, the onion layers that have had to come off over and over and over again. And so to have Chiron right now at 22 degrees over here on this other side, it's one of those where it is definitely touching my moon, which is at 20 degrees right there, and Jupiter up here in my 10th house like this. And then guess what? On the other side for me is Siva down here. So to me, this topic is not just huge, it is the foundation of my life. For the cost of having it, the cost of dealing with it, the times of homelessness and separation, segregation, being ostracized, you know, and not necessarily, again, not necessarily for being a bad person. It's because they didn't know how to deal with a person like me. I come out the gate, man. Come out the gate. So getting back to the other chart, this is the daily chart. You can see how that 22 degrees of Jupiter and that 22 degrees of Chiron are touching my sun sign, Vesta, right? The virgin of purity and truth, the one that comes through the room and she carries a sense of holiness. And so, of course, I was looking at the chart this week and thinking about that Chiron presence. However, just like everybody else is thinking about themselves. No one is that special. I promise you. No one is that special. You know, first thing you wake up to is you. You, and you are the last thing you've got right before you close your eyes. So everyone is thinking about themselves. It's very, very normal. However, in evolutionary astrology, and I'm going to pull this back up right here. In evolutionary astrology, the concept of the Aries, where'd you go? Aries to Libra, Capricorn to Cancer, this axis right here of energy is, well, it includes the major lines, and the major lines are kind of a big deal. You know, the first breath that we take is down here in Aries. The very first scream that comes out of our mouths, the first breath, like that. And I've been thinking about breath a lot. And a lot of people think about breath, but not the way that I think about breath. Because a lot of my energies in Virgo, I have to include the science, you know, I have to include the science. And so the past few weeks, I was like trailing down the name of God, you know, God, the name of God. God gave breath to Adam, the first. And this is just using biblical reference and text. I grew up in one of those Christian homes when I was a child. So God gave Adam the first breath of life. Breath, you know, God is the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God, and the name of God, and the breath of God. And I was like, okay, that's Pisces energy, right? I know, rabbits. I got rabbits all the time. But, You got to trust me that once I'm finished blathering, I weave the whole thing together, Mercury in Virgo, like I have, and I loop it all the way around. And now you see the embroidery, like the whole piece. So trust me. Pisces, right? Dark matter, the space in between you and me. That is the space in between items, things, but it's also where we pull our breath. It's also Pisces. It's what we breathe. The word of God. Every breath we inhale, we stay alive scientifically, right? Every breath we exhale as we speak, as we sing, as we breathe, goes back to feed the trees. Like, has it ever hit anybody that we're the ones that keep the trees alive? Anybody? The balance between the beauty of the world that we live in. We are in the garden. This is the garden. Each human being and the breath that it gives feeds the garden. Now we have this whole cycle that maintains. It's why Pisces energy is so important to the dignity and respect of another human, of another living being. We're breathing. We're keeping heaven alive. And when we treat one another with disgrace, undignified behavior, disrespectful behavior, dishonoring behavior, this is a life that is feeding this system for all of us. Now, if you're a biologist and you want to fight me on that, that's cool. Knock yourself out. I'm not a biologist. I have my second degree is in geography with a minor in social sciences, but it doesn't mean I wasn't just elbows deep in that geology stuff and all sorts of things that go along with it. That's how I was able to read astrology right from the get-go. I studied cartography. So when I saw the map, I knew it was a map. I didn't think it was something else that I had to turn and screw around in my head. I saw it as a 2D map. And I went, whoa, I can read this thing, right? Maps includes distances between things, all things being relational. So when I look at a map, I'm like, oh, okay, there's relationships going on all over the place between this one and that one and this one and that one. And as I consider Pisces energy and as I consider the breath, because Pisces is that moment that you prepare to breathe. There's a pause. You know, I was in the military. I do know how to shoot weapons. I'm pretty good at long distance with a scope. And this natural inclination to exhale completely. And in this space is where you pull the trigger, because with the next breath, there is vibration. There is vibration, and it sets off all these chemicals and all of these liquids, the nerve endings that feed the body, which is now Taurus. I'm constantly doing that in my brain. If you guys hung out with me and heard me speak aloud on what I'm meditating on, it's usually weird stuff like that. But let's get back to Aries and Chiron. This is the first breath. And in evolutionary astrology, we know that this first breath between Aries and Cancer, that little one that comes popping out is really upset that it had to leave its little warm cocoon inside of mama, that it's cold, there are lights, a lot of stimuli that this body, Taurus, has never interacted with before. And it gets hit all at once. It's not like the little one has a chance for us to explain before it exits, right? It's like, hey, guy, when you come out here, you can anticipate these things. So it's a shock, and it's sudden. and it's quick or it's long, depending, right? To come through the canal. I mean, come on now. That thing can only grow so large, 10 centimeters. And that's all you got to fit an 8-pound, 8.9-pound child. It's going to take some effort. And the little one is powerless. That's the other part. They're powerless to the mother's contractions or the doctor opening and bringing it out. Either way, this child is going to be upset. Okay. Just letting you know. We were all pretty pissed. And the way it explains, Jeffrey Green explains it in evolutionary astrology, is that this, whatever is from this person's first house to their fourth house, you will know what this person is angry with. You'll know their anger. You'll feel their anger. You'll see how they're angry because this is a moment of anger. That little one's mad. They can't say it. They can't express it. All they can do is scream because that's the only type of modality that this child has to communicate with the world. So you better figure it out. You know, that little one twitches. You better know why. And usually young parents have no clue. Do you know why it's screaming? No. Do you? Well, no. Let's ask it. Oh, that's right. It doesn't speak, our language yet. We have to teach it everything. So here's that moment of anger. Some other special things happen with this particular axis. And I could probably talk about this for like hours. Let me erase all that. Let me pick another color. While I'm picking in some colors, let's do orange. Like this. And I'm going to express it like this. Hold on. My apologies. Oh, never mind. Okay. Infancy, right? Aries. To breathe. To breathe. But Chiron is in the last decan right here. So there's been some knowledge or some identity building because that's what Aries represents, right? So I'll put it over here. Identity. What goes into creating and building an identity begins with the Cancer energy at home. This is the first social interaction this kid has, usually with the mother, sometimes not so, but usually with the mother, and sometimes with the father, usually not so. If we were reading a chart, I'd be asking you these questions. I'd be looking at the moon, I'd be looking at Venus, I'd be looking at Saturn. And I'd be like, okay, the chart says this was your mom or your dad, whether they were missing, whether they were alcoholics or addicts, whether they had, mental disorders or issues that stepped in the way, whether they were working and far away or in the military and far away. The chart will kind of say that. And I'm the one as an astrologer that has to kind of pull some of those basic information pieces out so that I can translate the rest of the chart. And only you would know these questions. So the first social interaction of a person's identity begins at home. And again, sometimes home. Because remember, sometimes the grandparents raise the child, sometimes institutions raise children, right? Sometimes it's extended family. I'm just going to put it like that because I don't want nobody fighting me today, okay? Don't be fighting me. It's no point. This identity building that comes from these people, places, things, and sometimes wolves. That kid that in Russia, I look at that kid sometimes, the one that was a little boy and like a toddler and a group a pack of wolves took this child into their pack and raised it. They didn't find that kid in Russia till he was like 14, man. He was 14. And by that time, this kid's identity was really grounded into the pack. We'd like to look at that kid's chart, ain't gonna lie. But let's just say the rest of us here, we form our identity through, let's just call it mom and dad, the mother and the father. The infant can smell instantly. Science knows that we smell before we see. Everybody doesn't think so. But if you're a Scorpio, you already know this. If you're a Taurus, you're covering up your natural smell all the time with all that perfume. Keep the perfume off of me. But the nose and the power of the nose and the power of the senses. The child's eyeballs have been developed, but they're not fully clear and linked in the brain with all the other senses. So the child, when they are born, has a huge jumble of, it's all sensory things that are popping off. If they can smell something, they can touch it, you know. They hear something, their eyeballs will jiggle. And it takes a little bit for the child's brain to kind of grip into Taurus energy, right? So they can smell their mama. They eventually get to smell their papa. The first face they see is usually one of these because they're constantly feeding the mother and the father. So the child will memorize the face. This child in their home environment with the people who are coming and going, this is the originating identity piece. And in the knowledge of the family at home or wherever this is, okay, I'm not going to fight with you. Wherever this is for this kid, these are going to be the foundational pieces, which is why Cancer is the root and Capricorn is where we're growing up towards. Cancer representing the root starts with the family. All of the relationships in the family are being shown from day one to this kid. The way we treat each other, the way we talk to each other, you know, the way we eat together. I'm just going to let you know that if you're getting chased by a pack of polar bears, ain't no time for you to sit down and have a nice little meal with your family. That just ain't going to happen. Tell me I'm a liar. You can't, right? You're out in the woods and you're freezing, right? You're freezing, thirsty. You got to pee. You're out in the woods. This ain't no time to sit down and cook a meal and talk with your siblings, you know, throwing puzzle pieces and stuff. No. You must have peace. And if you have Scorpio, Pluto, or Aries in the fourth, there may not be a lot of peace. And so the first parts of that childhood may be foundational to having disruption. And I'm going to get to that part because not if, there are, hold on, I need a Kleenex. There are a lot of families, mine included, that grow up with parents or family members that are agitated all the time, annoyed all the time. They can be grippy, you know. I like how Heather said it the other day. They grip and they won't let go. So they're helicopter parents. They're meddler. I mean, those kind of parents are meddlers. You know, they meddle too much. You meddle too much in a child's autonomy. You're pretty much handicapping them because now they're disabled with knowledge on how to live. Man, I knew this 35-year-old woman once, blew my socks off, where the mother meddled so hard. She was 35 years old. She didn't know how to get a storage unit, how to move out of a place and get a storage unit and put her stuff in a storage unit so she could fly to Europe and do what she does. And I was standing there going like, what? What? You know, too much independence with a child. They don't anchor into the foundation of their roots. Now they have abandonment issues and they become someone who grips too tightly. You can see that with Cancer over the 8th house. never letting you go. Or, having too much independence where they don't know how to interdepend and they have social issues because they push everybody away. I'm one of those. I have so much independence and I have so much ability that I don't ask for help when I need it. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? So let me stop sharing for a second. And I know I look great. Don't I want to go over and see if there's anybody here so far. Wow, 30 minutes in. And hi, Heather. Heather's here. Hi, Heather. All right, I need to shut up and get to the actual gist. Or maybe I don't. Who knows? Heather will let me know. Heather will let me know. I know she will. Where's my chart? What do I do with my chart, Heather? Heather! Oh, there it is. Okay, let me share. Heather, where are you? In fact, that's probably a good idea. Hang on, brief second. Let me ask for help. I'm really bad at that. Let me ask for help. This is a live watching Miriam moment, having to work at her shadow aspect of not asking for help. Please help Heather. She will too. Heather helps soothe the soul. And I know that may sound weird, but friends sometimes do that for a person with the Libra moon, which I have. You do what you want. I really do. Heather's putting on her face. Thank you. I'm not. I just came at it like raw, No, but I really did feel like this was a necessary part to showing you what I've been dealing with this week with my shadow work. And I'll get to the point. All right, so identity, social interaction, mother, father, home, our roots, but also where we have the first instruction on how to live socially. And it starts with our family. How we treat our brothers and sisters will determine how we treat our, it's weird, right? Because the mother and father relationship to the child is developed here. And when you have certain aspects and connections in the chart, I came from a house of bullies, and the bullies were allowed. And I bet you $1 million, because I was the only girl and I was bullied by my brothers. I bet you $100 million that their relationship with their female family members or female work people are not so hot, because I was the first female and they bullied me and they thought it was okay because my mother and my father allowed it. Think about that again, because the sextile position here from, let's do dark blue, from the third house, this is a semi-sextile position at Cancer right here, but it is a full sextile, 60 degrees to Leo over here. And this is where we are a child. And so, I was talking with friends about that a couple of years ago when I was processing this part. And I was going, okay, so wait a second. So the relationships we have with our siblings, or if you're a single child, or like one of those children that you didn't get siblings until you were like older and you were an only child for a very long time. Yeah, it can determine how you treat your spouses, your children, and it starts with the family and with the sibling arrangement. How did you treat your siblings? What was the instruction, Capricorn? The rule of law in the family. Notice that kind of points to Capricorn, right? I'm just going to put little dots like this. How we treat the people all around us. Like a dat. And I'm like, oh, my brothers have no clue. I'm the first one, right? And it kind of sits with you for a minute and you start connecting the dots. Now, if you're an astrologer and you know how to read this stuff, maybe you've known this for a while and sat with it for a while, and enough to dip into your shadow work like I do, like Heather does, to use the chart in a way to process your shadow work when you're in therapy, and to know some of the kinks just because you've sat with something like this and you've gone, oh my God, so you mean to tell me? Yeah, man, I do mean to tell you. So I'm going to remove this real quick. I'm basically just showing you that Cancer energy to the Aries is really doggone important to building the identity of a person in their lives. And with Chiron being present there, let's do green. With Chiron present there at the 22nd degree, that is, according to degree theory, that's a Capricorn degree that we've all been dealing with, and the Jupiter Capricorn degree up here as well. Good times, letting you know the moon is fixing to move to the 22nd degree right there, and everybody's having a great time with this. Great time. Okay, so let me go to Jupiter's 22nd degree. If we round it up, hang on real quick, because Jupiter is retrograde, right? Chiron is retrograde as well. And when I deal with the retrogrades, I know that we're repeating a certain energy. We're kind of going back to memories, going back to tasks or skills, and we're repeating certain things. It's a repeat. Good times. So, all right, let's go to Jupiter first, because that one was interesting. And let's keep in mind that because it's in Cancer, this is attached to something of where we came from, who our parents were, what the idea in the home of interactions socially, I'm throwing that out there, socially in the household. How do you speak to your mother? How do you speak to your father? You know, were these people present? For a lot of people with Pluto and Libra, that our generation of Pluto and Libra, my generation, Heather's generation, Pluto was in Libra. So guess what? Capricorn was kicking ass and taking names. People had to go to work. We're the key latch kids. We came home to nothing, okay? We had to figure it out. There was no parent. There was no training. There was no foundation back here, okay? For a lot of us. And the Pluto in Libra generation, for not having the present parents. With Pluto and Libra, a lot of our generation went way over to the other side, where they were like, I'm never gonna give that piece to my kids. And it comes with the Cancer to Aries thing, right? I was talking with my therapist about that this morning. The majority of the time, parents are trying to teach and imprint upon their children to avoid or correct or become able to overcome the parent's worst fear. I am afraid of being alone, right? So I'm going to teach my little one, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. I'm going to teach my little one how never to be alone. So I'm going to surround this kid with as many people as possible. I'm going to teach them how to grow bonds and make them really strong and adhesive. You know, I'm going to show the kid by being there all the time. And guess what happens? At some point, the kid's like, you never asked. You never asked me what I wanted. And I want to be alone because I'm an introvert. And you spent so many years pushing all these parties down my throat and all these organizations down my throat. And guess what happens? Pluto in Libra. Now we have a dominant parent who has gone way beyond the boundaries for themselves, not necessarily for the Aries side of this person, their child. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. In my generation, we have the most divorces. Oh, I wonder why. I could do a whole thing on our generation without even trying. Sometimes with Pluto and Libra generation, there are secrets. There are family secrets nobody talks about. It's Pluto energy. It's Scorpio energy. There are lies. I did this for your own best good. And the child is like 22 degrees Chiron. I didn't ask you for that. You didn't ask. You didn't try to get to know me as a person. You were running from your own worst fears. That's why you were doing what you were doing. And that's true. With Pluto and Libra, though, it makes it a gabillion times worse because Pluto's there. You know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, that social interaction that contributes to an identity that is social, Jupiter. Let me go over to the first Sabian symbol for 22 degrees of Jupiter, and it says, the meeting of a literary society. That's interesting. Don't forget, we're repeating. I did round up from 22 to 23, but because it's in retrograde, I also wanted to look at 20. These three are playing, in my mind, that's how I would translate. A mix of these three. Gondoliers in a serenade. Do you know what a gondolier is? It's like a guitar thing. Celebration of permitted emotions. Society's grip upon behavior is balanced between reward and punishment. Romance is approved and supported, right? Celebration of permitted. Where do you think we get that permitted? I'm asking for a friend. Because when I come and sit down to what my work was this week, it really came down to who made these rules. Who made these rules? So, celebration of permitted emotional expression. And I stopped right there. I was like, yeah, I don't need to read any more of that. I went to a prima donna singing, being aware of the price of success. Despite the huge social cost of our attainments, they almost never produce the happiness we yearn for. Why? Because you can't put your energy in two different places at the same time. What are we talking about? Jupiter, right? Mercury, Cancer. These are our eyeballs. I can look at you and I can focus on you. I'm looking at the camera. I'm focusing on you. And then I have to turn my eyeballs to be able to look at what I'm looking at over here. I can't make my eyeballs look at 17 things at the same time. Just one. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but like scientists have found out, like in the past couple of weeks, that our eyeballs are only picking up 4% of what's really in front of us. And I was like, you need to shut up. But it's true. What else do we not see? Okay. Seeing that success and failure are simply emotional outpourings. Well, that's weird because in the last one, we were talking about, conditional expression. This one is being aware of the price of success. The pursuit of fame and fortune is so commonplace that if it forms the core motivation for the majority of people, and our cultural ideas of what is successful are mostly shaped by the measurement of financial wealth or wide social popularity, right? Rarely does a person inquire of themselves, at what price was such success purchased? Because you can't be in two places at one time. You can't turn your focus to two things at one time. You have to choose. You have to choose, right? Rudyard says a famous singer is proving her virtuosity during an operatic performance. But what's happening at home? Only when we are aspiring to excellence can we feel alignment with the soul. Your soul will have a hunger and an appetite for what is true and what is right to your identity over here without any freaking suppression, Capricorn. Aries is the place in the chart, according to Jeffrey Green, that we must absolutely have full freedom. Full freedom. Full, because it's an initiatory response. It's the place where we get excited about life. This is the inspiration that comes to us, that I'm hungry and I want a corny dog at a fair. I don't know. We need freedom to explore this area, because this is the area that our soul is using to yang ourselves into this experience. My people got to be writing me in the middle of a live stream. Y'all need to leave me alone. Okay. And because of the axes that we're on right here, we're teeter-tottering. And now you got Capricorn that's going to come in with the rules. Social conditioning, right? You don't jump on the table when we're eating. You don't jump on the table ever, because I bought that thing and had to earn it and spend my time and my money. You're not going to disrespect something that I put my life into, and I turned and made a choice to sacrifice for the performance over there. I lost time with my family. I lost time with my friends. I lost time on vacations to be able to commit myself to purchasing that table where all of us, right, Cancer and Libra, can sit down to eat. So don't put your freaking feet on that table, because I sacrificed Cancer to Pisces. I sacrificed something to be here and to have that. How dare you? Don't do that. It's disrespectful, Pisces. Don't do that. That's messed up, man. Right? But that Capricorn energy can go a little far. Like, being so aggressive with your stuff, Mars and Taurus. Mars and Taurus, Taurus over the 5th. Right? Taurus over the 1st. That socially, you think everybody else wants your stuff more than you. No, good. You're good, bruh. I don't need to borrow your bathing suit. I have one of my own. Check. I'm good. Don't need yours. You don't have to freak out, man. You're looking cray-cray over there. So, there I was, looking at the square between the 1st house and the 4th house. And I was looking at Chiron. And I was thinking about what Aries entails as a sign, because there's a lot of things that Aries has, right? It is the place of identity, just because all of us had to pop out of we all came through the chute, so to speak, and landed plop in the Cancer energy of our lives. We also had to grow up with the social conditioning rules of Capricorn on the other end. And then in Libra, these were either the challenges of trying to make connections fit, or needing connection and not finding a good fit, or they're like you're floating out in the sky and where are the connections I'm supposed to be with? I can't find them. They're missing, if you have Neptune in Libra or the 7th house or something. And I'm thinking of Aries because, yeah, identity is part of the role, but so is gender. That axis will rule gender. What we are shown from childhood and from the social conditioning of this right here will show us how we treat genders, how we define. It's probably a better way of putting it, how we define. And what did I do wrong? defining roles. Yeah. Whether it's defining the roles of who is in charge and how we treat that person. Because there's a lot of people who do not like authority, right? They don't like how we define the policeman, putting that there. They don't like how we define the teacher. They don't like how we define the neighbor. Like that. Some of them really are okay with that. When we get those lessons from this axis, this is the original foundation. That's what Jeffrey Green means. The original social foundation, which is what Jupiter is talking about. Those places of permissive expression. I'm looking at it, though, from the fact of identity, but also roles. Now, I'm going to take all that away because the majority of humans are subjective, just like I am, just like you are. We're thinking about ourselves. And this week in therapy, we've been talking about radical acceptance. Radical acceptance. I liked that there was also a part in there because I've been working on somatic therapy by myself just a little bit. I'm going to be trying to learn Qigong, I think is how it's called, which is a form of Tai Chi, I think. Anyway, Qigong is gentler, which is what I need. I need gentle. I do not need harsh. God bless. You come at me gentle, I'll be like, oh my God, whatever you need. Somatic therapy and trying to create an environment where your body can catch up to your emotions. Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. I'm trying. That was really bad. All right, well, it's where your body can catch up. Let's put it like that. Radical acceptance. Now, it's like 16,000 things in my head. Let me stop real quick and let me see how Heather is doing and everybody else in the live stream. Oh my God, my friends are here. Thank God. I can breathe now. Woo, waiting. Amy is here. If y'all have never met Amy, Amy has Leo energy that is so big that she could love the whole world and put y'all in her basket of love. Because I do think, and I've thought that for many years, that Amy's love is large enough for the world. You don't meet a whole lot of people like that. You know, you meet people that their love is large enough for their family or for their pets, you know. Not Amy. Amy's love is big enough for the whole wide world. She's one of those. Period. So I don't even know how to define something like that because it's so big. She put like the whole nation. It's like a kangaroo with a pouch, you know, just put it in the pouch. Mama's got you. It's like that. I love Amy. Hi, Jerry. I love Jerry too. Hi, Jerry. Jerry makes us all look good. I'm just letting you know. She's that kind of quality where Jerry goes out into the world and she makes us look good. It's kind of weird, but that's how she is. You know? Yeah. She's valuable in one of those pieces where her protection is sort of like a social kind of protection. Her love binds people, but it also makes us look good. Just saying. Janosin. Oh, you found me. I love you, friend. People have been finding me. Yeah, I'm back. Mama's back. And y'all in trouble because I saw what you did behind my back. I'm not one of those. Mm-mm. I was raised in one of those bad environments where there was a lot of whipping. So I don't like to spank. The only time I spanked was when there was a moral wrong, like my dad. There had to be something morally wrong that needed, there's a difference, right, between correction, which is, oh, you shot the BB gun. I remember that. My brothers took their BB gun, shot the back fence. It ricocheted and came through one of the huge panel windows that we had in our house. Dad didn't get mad or upset. He made the boys go with him to purchase the equipment and then come back and to fix it. But if there's a moral wrong, that's a spanking. It ain't because the principal got mad, pulled me out of the 6th grade class in front of everybody and beat me outside. No, it ain't like that. Because you upset today. Go control yourself before you deal with something, okay? Hi, Dolores. You had to parent your parents. So did I. And I can see how this is repeating, having to be a parent still to would-be partners. Yeah, I had to parent my mom. She drove me nuts. But I miss her and I love her and she's mine. I'm coming to get her, that woman. Hey, Brandon. Brandon's cool, dude. I like Brandon. He's got rebel in him, though. And it's weird because sometimes it has to do with Pisces energy. So there's a little bit of a twist. It's good psychological material to think on. I like it. Okay, so all my friends are here and more are coming. That's wonderful. I've been live for a little bit. Now that I know you guys are here, I am more safe. Thank you. Let me go into what happened with my doggone therapy this week. My doggone therapy. Okay. So, Sabian symbol for 21. A boxer is entering the ring. Let me read this, okay? Power is not revealed by striking hard or often, but by striking true. By Honoré de Balzac, whoever that is. In fighting and in everyday life, you should be determined through calm. Meet the situation without tenseness, yet not recklessly. Your spirit settled, yet unbiased. An elevated spirit is weak, and a low spirit is weak. Do not let the enemy see your spirit. He that wrestles with us strengthens our nerves and sharpens our skill. Our antagonist is our helper, by Edmund Burke. Come up with a smiling face. It's nothing against you to fall down flat, but to lie there, that's a disgrace. Edward Vance Cook. A proverb, he who fights and runs away may live to fight another day. That's nice. If you cannot bite, never show your teeth. Proverb. Alan Minter, a boxer. Sure, there have been injuries and deaths in boxing, but none of them are serious. What? Okay. It may be time to fight about some issue, but it should be done within the bounds of the ring, heeding the rules and regulations of decency. Make sure you possess the skills and have earned the right to defend what you believe. Are rules being broken? Is there someone keen to battle? Are they causing problems? At times, it may be appropriate or necessary to physically fight. However, signaling your readiness to fight may cause the other to back down. If you really need to go into the ring, be fully prepared for any consequences. Be aware that you may need to back off if you are losing ground. I'm going to stop right there and go to the chart because it's freaking brilliant that we're having a new moon coming up on the 19th, which is today. Oh, wow. Where'd I get this chart from? Go away. No, that's my chart. When is the new moon? Oh, it's tomorrow. God, this is brilliant. Click out of that. Chart of the moment. That's the one I want. Boop. Yep. Moon's in Sagittarius in the later degrees. And it's right here. And it's moving up to the sun. So it's a new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules social engagement. Jupiter in Cancer. 22nd degree, Capricorn degree. Boop, boop. So the moon, social entanglement. Now, if you guys let me know in the chat if you want to, if earlier this week, what? She's saying something. Hold on. Let me go to my friend. What's my friend saying? New moon is today, 28 degrees Sagittarius. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're talking about the right thing. We're talking about the right thing today. I'm just throwing myself under the bus like Marsha Lineman. That's all. All right. New moon 24 right now. It's moving up, like Heather said, to 28 degrees, which is right there. And Sagittarius, social engagement, society, right? Jupiter, there's Jupiter in Cancer, but societal situations that have to do with the home or family or mother. And if earlier in the week you were upset and you showed some agitation and then it kind of mellowed out, right? I'm talking about the Aries piece because I believe that Capricorn has been squaring this energy here, Siva. That's the one. I'm saying it backwards. Siva has been squaring Chiron, has been opposite Jupiter. And that's what I've been focused on. The moon is also in Scorpio at, Lilith at 24 degrees, which would be close enough. So a social, environmental quality of the person's identity that was built foundationally as an engagement that would happen at home. So family, the ideas of family. And curiously, next week is Christmas. Let's talk about it. All right. I pulled up James Burgess. He says that we can feel the alignment with our soul. Our soul. So it's very interesting that this image has become so ambiguous in that the phrase prima donna is often used facetiously to point to a person's unseemly display of superficial self-affirmation, right? One interpretation of the original meaning is that someone has persistently and rigorously sought perfection in order to improve themselves and to project their best into the world. Now I'm going to stop right there because that right there is Cancer at 21 degrees. Now, let me go to the Pisces energy because the North Node is assuredly over here in Pisces. This is the direction we got to go in. All of our souls are pushing for that Pisces energy right there. And what's Pisces saying about all this hot mess, right? Pisces at 12 degrees. Love this. This universal idea is best expressed through planets in Pisces at 12 degree. Examination. We are brought to a focus and challenged to produce our best results in order to measure and improve. Deal with examinations and challenges effectively. So if y'all were agitated at the beginning of this freaking week, right? You may have kind of gone off a little bit because there was something socially done at home or with the family or given to a father or an absent father. something there that was off and it upset you. Know that, oh my goodness, Pisces at 12 degrees is like, look at it, examine it, take a look-see, right? But deal with the examinations that you find and challenges that you find effectively. Advanced beings tend to be drawn into each other's company. There's that social aspect. And then create a disciplined community to protect the atmosphere and conditions that support their being able to maintain a high level of attunement. Right? Let me go back to the chart. First, we have Sagittarius. Sagittarius comes first. This is the social interaction where we get enough people together. And now we're like, oh crap, somebody better put down a rule because the bears are getting into all the trash because there's no trash pickup. You know, I love looking at that city in New Jersey, the one that decided we don't want any government. We're just going to run all Aries, showtime, let's go, no rules, right? So what happened to these folks? Delaware, New Jersey, wherever they were. It was great experience, a great social experiment. After about a week, everybody's trash was out, you know, in front of their house, but there's no trash pickup because there's no government and there's no law. No. So what happened? All the freaking animals came out of the woods and started breaking into people's houses because they were like, oh my God, they have food in here. Let's bypass the trash and just go straight into their homes. Aha! Rules. Everybody needs to put their trash out on Thursday for trash pickup. So first comes the social, societal. We're all sitting together and there is a group. But this one has to do with the inconjunct energy to Cancer. That's the one I've been dealing with right there. Let me zoom in. Cancer going to Sag. That's an inconjunct. Something happened for me here. And it hit me right in the feels at 22 degrees of Aries. And I'm sure it's hitting all y'all too, which was kind of poopy. Let me go to the next Sabian symbol. Aries, Sabian list. So for me, because it's in retrograde, for me, I'm looking at from 20 to 21, because 22 is where we're at, and then 23 is where we're going. So I read these, and let me go to 23. 23 degrees of Aries, the rich potential of every moment and situation. Assertiveness and desire together give birth to creative new possibilities. So creative assertiveness towards furtherment of potentials, right? When clear assertive purpose applies to a field of potential, something else is brought into being. But you don't get this kind of assertiveness and creative unless you have Aries energy, because that's where that shit first initiates. If you are constantly suppressed by freaking Capricorn energy, societally, social conditioning will suppress the Aries. And now you have communism. You know what they did in the 50s and the 60s with communism? They went in and refused all instruments unless they were directly approved by the state. If you were an artist, they'd come into your home, they'd destroy all your things, they'd put you and your family in prison. If you were a musician, like you weren't allowed to play music at home. You were not approved to play music unless you had approval from the state, which was very rare. Okay, it was terrible. The state completely just crushed the Aries energy. Okay. Aries has been harmed. We are trying to come to some sort of positive, creative, assertive, these are all good Aries words, way of dealing with the issue at hand. So even though there was probably an initial rah that came out of the sky right there, as we went, the moon went through Scorpio and Sag, it probably calmed down a little bit because our soul, our wound is asking for a better way. Remember the boxer in the ring that we looked at? The boxer in the ring. Where'd that go? Where was that? Was that Cancer energy? Please say it is not so. 22. No. That must have been Aries. The boxer in the ring. Oh, wow. All right. I hit Pisces instead of Aries. Let me grab it. A pugilist, which is terrible because it is kind of a boxing thing. Aries at 21 degrees, overwhelming power. Two sides of aggression. Two sides. Measuring up to challenges, so to examine our strengths and weaknesses, which is what the 12 degree in Pisces, the North Node, is asking us to do. The will to power is glorified as the primordial struggle for survival of the fittest and eagerness for fame and fortune. There it is again. Yet the ring with two fighters can also be seen as the Tai Chi symbol and the interplay between yang and yin. Each of the two types of the energy wins in turn. Victory is always temporary in a dualistic world. This is good. Conflict provides the grit we need to become stronger. This boxer has conviction in their powers of accomplishment and vigorously exhibits concentrated self-determination. Now, I will go back to the Pisces degree because I'm awesome like that. The Pisces degree at 12 degrees, it said examine, an examination, but it's being done by you. This Aries wound is examine it. See both sides of the situation. We're not trying to deal with it aggressively because that didn't work last time. We're dealing with it assertively this time, right? Well, you don't get to examine a thing unless you're damn good at it. Aries at 22 degree Chiron. That means this Jupiter 22 degrees back here means that you know this social thing and you've known. Pisces wouldn't let you examine a thing unless Virgo South Node, you had experience doing it. You had knowledge of the thing. True? Not lying. Anyway, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. So I'm going to stop sharing right there so that I can see my friends while I say, because it'll click. Watch. It'll click into place. It'll click. Why? I don't want that. I was very calm. I bet you were, Amy. All right, Brandon was dealing with the cat. Dang. Now, I know their cat is older and has some health issues, so you can imagine having a very loving pet that you've had for like 20 years, some shit, having health issues. So I can understand his assertiveness in the needs that he needs to. He's that. Brandon is definitely he's a protector, yes, but he's a provider, yes. But he's like a caretaker for his loved ones. So he stands as a warrior, as a bridge, whatever the loved one needs. He's that guy. So I can see him standing in the space between to assist for the cat. Okay, I'm just letting you know. All right, new moon is today. All signs, yes. Horoscope is posted in the community post here on YouTube. I also want to ask you guys, how do you like the horoscope things? Because I've never done them before. I've always been like anti. Oh, horoscopes aren't real because they come from this place. But not the way I do it, not the way Heather does it. And I was like, dude, this is fun. I was having like a blast doing the horoscope thing. I was like, oh my God. I'm such a nerd. Okay, Amy says, I was very calm. Jerry says, Miriam is like a fly on the wall. She's in the room when it's all going down. I really am. Except I'm your friend, and I'm like, dude, don't go over there. He's really mad, you know. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much for supporting us. Lord knows we need to eat. Thank you. Like this week, I got it. Instead of Merry Christmas, hi, we're having a ham. No, man, Heather and I are eating beans. That's what we're getting for Merry freaking Christmas. Thank you, Stephanie, for identifying what we need and supporting us. Thank you. Jerry says, if you don't know, now you know. That's true. Jerry says, I asked her the same thing. Okay. What'd you guys ask me? I'm going to come up here to see what y'all asked me now. Well, you're going to have to ask me again. Love the title of this video. Oh, girl, I'm getting there. I am getting there. Good morning, Stephanie. Thank you so much. Brandon says, my cats are young babies. You're picking up on my old cats I had forever. You know, a guy's good when he's got cats, unless he's a serial murderer. But we can look at those charts, definitely, for sure. Oh, they got their rabies shot. Ay, Dios. Well, I hope they're feeling better today. I do. Okay, so where are we at now? Aries is the place where we have those roles, right? Cancer and Capricorn are the places where we get the definitions. Sagittarius, that in conjunct, Sag to Capricorn to Cancer, where mom and dad and aunt and uncle, they're all like, stop chewing on your sister's finger. It hurts and it's not nice. We don't chew people. No, you know. Oh, you think that's hot? You keep touching it. You keep touching it, man. It's sort of like, I don't have to teach you. The hot stove will teach you. If you want to keep playing around with it, do it, dude. If you're not going to listen to my instruction, Capricorn, then I'll let the stove do it for you. Right? And some parents would be like, oh my God, that's terrible. Well, not in my world. You just keep rejecting my instruction. Take the hit, you know, take the hit. I was in the military. Take the hit, dude. It'll teach you faster than I can. The rules of don't talk to the mail carrier that way. Be nice. Leave Merry Christmas. Leave your mail carrier, right? Beautiful gifts like a Starbucks card or a gift card, Amazon gift card or something. Love your mail carriers. Do not let the dog out there to get in the way of the mail carrier. Make sure you put your animal in the back because that person's working. The dog is not. Okay. Whoever's working wins. That's it. That's that. True? Roles. Now I'm going to get deep. This is where I get deep because this got personal for me this week in a big way. So, radical acceptance in PTSD group from the VA. I've been in that class for a while now. Marsha Linneman's instruction, radical acceptance, making sure that our body is having time to catch up with our emotions because our lives are so fast that sometimes it feels to me like I am up here. And they do have a term for it. It's not, it's like a, let me look it up real quick. Hey, Armstrong. Here, I'll share my screen so you guys can see my freaking process. It's classic, of course, right? I'm like, hey, Armstrong, what's that thing called where you feel like you're not entirely inside of your body? Where's that? What's that thing called, Armstrong? God. It sounds like you're pointing to something people often describe as depersonalization, that strange, unsettling sense. Now, this is AI. It may not be completely true. So make sure that you follow up with your own research, which I have done. This is an unsettling sense of being a little outside of yourself, like you're watching your life instead of living it, which is very frequent for me because in my chart, I do have, there I am, my sun is in the 12th house. That's Pisces. That's floating out in space. I've had this since I was little. So some folks, yeah, some folks also experience derealization where the world around them feels slightly unreal or dreamlike. Happens a lot. Both can show up during stress, exhaustion, or overwhelm, and they can also happen completely out of the blue, which is true. When these sensations happen repeatedly or stick around, they're sometimes grouped under depersonalized derealization disorder, which is described as feeling detached from your body or thoughts or surroundings, which is true. There it is with the Mayo Clinic. There we go. Depersonalization, and I'm this is me self-diagnosing, but I have had other psychologists say, yeah, I can see that happening. Many people have a passing experience of depersonalization or derealization at some point, yes. But when these feelings keep occurring or never fully go away, they make it hard for you to function. It's likely depersonalization, derealization disorder. This condition is more common in people who experience trauma, such as violence, abuse, or other kinds of extreme stress. This disorder can be serious and may get in the way of your relationships and work. It can also disrupt other daily activities. So make sure you do your psychotherapy or whatever you got to do if you also have that in your life. With me, with the sun sign in the 12th house, man, I consistently and always tend to walk around like my eyeballs are not really here. It feels like my eyeballs are up here and that I live life being like floating a little bit inside outside of myself. And so the somatic therapy, I'm trying to get to put myself all the way back in, like get inside. But it does talk about having a series of stimuli that's so freaking fast in the world that we live in right now. Stimuli. It's not like it used to be. I constantly have a wish and a hope and a desire not to go sit out in front of Cracker Barrel on a freaking rocking chair, but to sit on my back balcony with Heather. I was actually this week, I was like, all right, dude, what do I need to make my dreams come true? Because that's what I do. I make people's dreams come true, including my own. So I need a waterproof rug so that Iris has something to lay on, maybe even a little bed that's waterproof. And then I need a rocking chair so I can sit by my friend in the silence. Just be peaceful. Because there's so much freaking stimuli. So I'm trying to let my body catch up to the stimuli. Because if my body gets kind of left behind, my nerve, I have neuropathy, I have trigeminal. You guys know my conditions. My body will start doing these things because they can't catch up to my brain, which is picking up all these things in my eyeball and it's going really fast. Why does this make sense? Because it does. Educate yourself, people. Eyeballs. Anyway, Chiron, 22 degrees, retrograde. Squaring Jupiter, 22 degrees, retrograde. Squaring Siva in Capricorn, 21 degrees. Dealing with radical acceptance, trying to allow myself to catch up with my emotions, to catch up with my body, giving myself a moment, wherever I am, digging in my toes, right? My fingers are real scratchy because I've been doing a lot of physical labor. So I have like cuts like this, and my fingers and my hands are all dry. It's driving me nuts. Aries, Chiron, all of us are dealing with this radical acceptance. What is real? Accepting what is real. What is the reality? The hardest reality that I have to live with. And just letting it go and letting it be what it is. Because To let it be what it is, I must do a little therapy. So there I was in my therapy session, because y'all know I write. Oh God, we started back here. Dudes were talking in the group and I was writing. All right, so I wrote some pages. I won't let you go through all of it. But this is what I wrote. December 17th, 2025. I put the date on everything I write. I am questioning and fighting reality. The reality had to occur this way. I need to involve my whole self, mind, body, and spirit to be able to have this radical acceptance. There was something in his presentation that said, sometimes getting your body to catch up with your mind and your spirit requires for you to consciously make your body do something that triggers happiness. And so he was having us practice where you force yourself to smile. And he said, even the act of turning up your lips into a little bit can set chemicals off in your brain that has dopamine. I didn't even know. Like the feel good chemical, like you guys try it out. The feel good chemicals will just be like, oh my God. You force yourself to do something like this. That's forcing myself to put myself in a happy pose. And all of a sudden my brain starts doing happy shit. And I'm like, the fuck you say? What? This has been here the whole time? You mean to tell me? Now, Heather knows more than I do because she's a music person. So she can get in her vehicle and turn on the music that makes her happiest, which is usually angry music. I don't know why she's an Aries rising. Her and freaking Felicia would be a hoot, two cannons going out into the world. But to force yourself to bodily do something, open your hands like you're going to give someone a hug, right? Which is very rare for me. I don't like people touching me. So involving your mind and your body and your spirit, making yourself smile. List the behaviors you would do if you did accept the facts, and then engage in those behaviors as if you radically accepted it, which when I wrote that down, I was not ready for that shit. You need to back the F up. Cope ahead with events that seem unacceptable. I ain't ready for all that. No. Then it said to rehearse. Again, not ready for that step. Says attend to body sensations, which I'm learning to do, and trying to figure out when I have a thought or an emotion where it's attached to in my chakra line. And just because it points to an area doesn't mean I have the solution to fix it. No, we're just following the yellow brick road, right? Follow the yellow brick road. And eventually, when we begin these acts of faith, faith without works is nothing, right? Just because you dream it over there, it doesn't mean you have faith. Faith is like, bitch, I'm going to get that thing. And then you get up and go get it, right? And the universe will start opening doors. So just because I followed the freaking yellow brick trail down to my sacral chakra or whatever, it doesn't mean I have the answer. It means that I'm doing the work, showing the universe, this is the direction I'm going. You coming or not? Done. All of a sudden the doors start opening. All right. He kept saying, you are the sky, which is Pisces. I am the sky, and clouds are thoughts and experiences that move through the sky. I wrote that down because that was a different viewpoint, because he was talking about, right? Pisces being the sky, and the clouds. Clouds are Aquarius. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. Then he said, acknowledge that life can be worth living even when there is pain. I've proven that point. I'm going to clear my throat. Excuse me. Get a drink. Now, it is the hardest thing in the world to me to be in just physical pain. Bring it. I got you, motherfucker. Just bring it. Physical pain, great. Chop my arm off. I will dig in with that endurance. Emotional pain, not the same. Sometimes the emotional pain is so deep. It is so attached, probably even more so to my body. It's not just the Ophelia sense. And if we go back to the chart and I show you the chart, am I talking too long? Y'all need to tell me. Alt. Hey, right on. Let me go over here and ask my friends if I'm talking too long. Hey guys, am I talking too long? Jen asked where to, yeah, oh, I know. Jen, I haven't seen her in a while. That's right. Miriam's got my brain clicking today. That's my job. My whole job is to give this, my Mercury, my brain, my voice, my communication, my opinions. My Mercury in the 12th house is meant for the entire divine collective. So my whole life, you know, Heather looking at me and saying, girl, open your damn mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. Hey, Shaw Roberts. Now, Shaw's been with me for so many years. My friend. Am I talking too much? I just need y'all, because we're going to be here for another minute and we're at an hour and a half. So I just want to make sure if I need to get off or wrap this up. Okay, because this is real, man. This was real for me this week. This is real. Heather doesn't even know this. Ask her. Heather has no clue I did this week. She knows the tail end of what happened, but she didn't know what prefaced it. Yeah, she just caught the tail end. And we had a talk later that evening and she's looking at me like, are you okay? And I was like, not a good day. She didn't know why. She was patient with me. She waited. She waited. Acknowledge that life can be worth living even when there is pain. You know, the only reason someone reaches, no, I can't say that. The Ophelia piece in my chart next to my sun in Vesta. When my body does this thing, that's what I was going to show you. I was going to show you my chart again. Because this is important for all of us. So I'm looking to the left here. I'm looking at my 12th house where my South Node is. And South Node is saying, girl, you're pretty good at this. And I'm looking at my South Node like, you mean to tell me? So anytime I have ever in a past life reached for the GUN, I've done it before. I'm not allowed to do it. Now I have to talk about it. My Pluto, hang on, let me erase. I know you guys can't see as well as I'd like you to. We're going to fix that. I have Pluto. Well, here's Pluto conjunct Pallas, and then my North Node, and then my Moon and a Tropis. And a Tropis, if I go into my astrology definitions, which was given to us in large part by a woman named Taz, and she's no longer with the channel, but she did begin to develop this. And I also started to develop Armstrong with extra. Here's Ophelia, the suicide, tragic love, innocence, fragility, despair, devotion, emotional vulnerability, loss, psychological traits. On the positive side, Ophelia teaches us the beauty of innocence and devotion. Love uncovers the soul, even in fragile moments. Her presence reminds us to honor vulnerability as a strength. On the negative side, Tragic love, where passion drowns in despair. That keyword drowns is part of Ophelia's story. Jealousy and betrayal fracture the soul's trust. Ophelia warns fragility of love can undo us. The neutral archetype is Ophelia is psychologically in myth, where mind and soul meet. She embodies the study of love's trials and the shadow of loss. Ophelia asks, what truth lies beneath devotion? For Taz's Encyclopedia of Asteroids, Atropos is Greek for the unbending. Atropos was the one with the shears with which she cut the thread of a person's life when his or her time was up. It may be that this particular name was chosen because of the death of the German Emperor Wilhelm I, which occurred at about the same time. Endings, completion, conditions at the finish, what is needed to conclude. Gang link Atropos to repetitive action, such as oil drilling. So let me go back here to Ophelia, because that's great. Tragic love, despair, repetitive action, such as oil drilling. On my moon, repetitive action like oil drilling, tragic, despair. You see the challenge. And I've thought of this since I first started freaking interpreting my dang chart. I was like, dude, who am I? Why did you guys pick me? You're just going to slam over and over and over and over. And then I've got, Ophelia up here on my sun. I have to display tragic love and loss, emotional vulnerability. Bam, bam, bam. And there are times when my body, right, first house, my body will betray me because of my emotions and go straight to the suicide thing. And I go on auto. I'm not even kidding. My body will go on auto. Just auto. First house, Aries, zing. And I'll shut down. I'll shut down. My body will say, you must go now, and exit and unalive myself. And people look at me and they're like, you have a choice. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm set on auto because of my first house, ruled by Aries, which needs total freedom to initiate. Initiate. Let's go. Great. Having a great time. Awesome. I'm sure we're all having a great time. Whatever. I'll sit around and be like, nobody knows. You know what I mean? Nobody knows. Everybody need to shut up. Nobody knows what it's like. God bless. And then Marsha Lineman acknowledged that life can be worth living even when there is pain. The drums. You hear the drums. They play the drums that call, that Aries first house energy. I want drums around pain. It's loud. People are yelling, they're screaming, the drums, the warriors, the pain, the pain, the pain. And you mean to tell me that I have to find a life worth living in that condition of emotional pain with Moon conjunct Pluto in the first freaking house with Atropos? Great. Thanks. Challenge? Oh, yeah, I'll take it. Who was that guy? Because I tell my spirit guides a lot. Why didn't you stop me? Who was the one that was like, oh, man, you should do this one? No. Why didn't I'm going to kick you when I get to the other side? I'm going to line all y'all bitches up and I'm just going to kick, and say, next time I come up with an idea like this, y'all need to kick me. That's your first warning. God. Building a life worth living, even though there is pain. And I'll be honest with y'all, I don't have an answer to that yet. I don't have an answer fully to that yet. I really don't. So Let's just check. Not ready for that step. Not yet. The next one was, if you have that initiatory thing to where you want to absorb yourself in the Piscean disillusionment, the whole point of this exercise is to have radical acceptance by embracing reality. It's radical. I don't know why we're using that word, but I like it, so I'm saying it. And then it says, write a pros and cons list. If you resist, practice. Like I'm supposed to be practicing. And if I resist, I'm supposed to write a pros and cons list. The pros of me, accepting reality as it is, and the cons of me not accepting reality as it is. And I'm like, I ain't ready for that step. Really, I'm ready for like the first 3 steps, that maybe 4. I am questioning and fighting reality and owning that. Miriam has been questioning and fighting the reality that is. Step 2, the reality had to occur this way. And that's where we have evolutionary astrology to sit back and give it a reason why. And we can see the past lives and how it all came to be. So I'm okay with step 2. Step 3, involve my whole self, mind, body, and spirit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm working on that. I know I'm working on it, right? List behaviors you would do, that's step 4, if you did accept the facts. No, not ready for that step. Fuck that step. I ain't ready for that step. Let's turn the page. You see how I do my therapy? That's how I do my therapy, girl. What? Ain't cheating. It's working. It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's that I untie this effing knot because it's on the axes. Aries is on the family axes. Tell me we're not working family karma right now. I will poke you in the eyeballs with 2 fingers. We are all doing this. There's something socially that has been done in the foundations of where we were raised and the people that we were surrounded with. And we need to, what does Jupiter 22 say? We have to be the hero here. Pisces says to examine it. Jupiter says the suppressed emotions that were given up for performance that was required, Capricorn. We're looking at that. See how my brain works? Great. Now I wrote, now that this has happened, do I need help? Do I need to be heard? Or do I need to have a hug? Hold that piece. Now that this has happened, do I need help? Do I need to be heard? Or do I need a hug? Hold. That's important. I dug real deep while the group was going on, and this is Miriam speaking. So, my expectation was faithfulness. My expectation from all these people that harmed me was faithfulness. I wanted their faithfulness. Miriam wrote me, I expected this person who put me in the situation I was in to take responsibility for the role I expected them to play out in my script. You guys hear me say that stuff a lot, except this time I'm flipping it on myself. I expected this person who put me in this situation I was in to take responsibility for the role I expected them to play out in my script. I have expectations that others play their role. See how I did that? I, generally, as a rule, I have expectations that others play their role. I assume they are accountable in their role. I assume that these people are accountable in their role to me. And now I'm playing God, Pisces. Which leads me to the next thought I had. Purity in the role. Why did I have expectation for purity in the role they were playing. This is my expectation. I'm in my lane. Now we go to the chart. Because I was sitting in there when I wrote that down and I was like, oh, shit. Shit, that's me. I was like, damn it, Jim. Happens every time. That was me. 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 I'm the one that did this to my damn self again. Right? All right. I don't want this one. I want this one. There we go. There it is. Chiron, 22 degrees, Aries. The proverbial I, the place of I expected there. Here's Scorpio. That's the word there. And why is it the word here? I can't do it like that. I'll finish this. Let me just get my shit right. I'm going to put Scorpio here, size bigger. There. Why do I say that I put there? Their role to me. Because it's joined. You can't have Scorpio unless you have joined. It's just dumb. I expected their role to me. What did we just create, my fellow astrologer people friends, in that little system? Here, let me show you. Aries goes to the opposition point and then goes to its higher vibration, Scorpio. Say it ain't so, man. Now we have, right, the inconjunct, which is at 240 degrees. 240 degrees. I know. If you guys have an easier way of getting this shit done, you let me know. Why won't it do it? All right. Well, 240 degrees. Right? Inconjunct. Which now gives us the yod. The yod gives us the presentation of confrontation, right? Commitment issues, chaos, all the C's, right? Chaos, confrontation, confusion, all the C's go with the yod. Purity. I assumed they are accountable in their role to me. And now I'm playing God. I expected from their role to me. What did I expect? Oh, bitches, let's go to the bitchery, shall we? What did I expect? Say it ain't fucking so, bitches. We go from Aries to the midpoint, right? And then we go over to, oh, fuck. What's over on the other side? South node in Virgo, because Virgo is purity. I wrote it down. I assumed that they are acceptable in their role to me. Purity in the role. I wanted purity in the role. Virgo. I asked, why, Miriam? Why did you need to have purity in the role? And I wrote, he failed in his role to me. My brother failed in his role to me. My sister-in-law failed in his role, in her role to me. I wrote, family fails. My family does not know how to play their proper roles. Now I stopped because they're not in the room. I'm in the room. I have to flip it on myself. If I'm going that way with my finger, I have 3 fingers pointing back at me. So I had to ask of my own damn self, how have I failed in family roles to others? Make me want to cry. Others have had their expectations from me to fill a particular role. I remember once, me and my brother, we were both adults. We were at his house. And he looked at me and he said, "You're the older sister. You're supposed to be doing all this shit for me. Why aren't you here for me?" I was homeless. It was my second homelessness. I didn't have the power to be anything to anyone. I was homeless. It was like living in a tent in the woods, man. I was homeless. But all these other people, they still had their expectations from me. And it doesn't matter if I agree with them or not. It's that I failed. If I go and stand in their shoes, I don't need to see their perspective. They have the same thing. Aries, Virgo, Aries, Scorpio, they have the same thing. So, right? What does Pisces say? Pisces over here says to examine. I've been an inspector on aircraft in the Air Force. You guys know this. Jet engines was my specialty. I know how to examine properly from an unbiased place. I was trained not to involve myself, but to look from all sides. And that's what the North Node is saying in Pisces. Miriam, examine this situation. Stand in your eye, but also stand in their eye as well. My little brother has needed me to be an aunt to all of his boys. He's got like 6, 7 boys. I don't even know. And the truth is, if I'm like really, really honest with you guys, I don't even know all their names. I don't even know all their names, man. I can't be there. I haven't been there. I haven't been a part of any of their birthdays. I haven't been the aunt that I needed to be. If I stand in their expectation, okay? Because Pisces says you got to go to all positions and all sides. If I'm going to say this about them, I need to be able to say it about myself. And it's good for me to do this with you because I need you to see what's going on when Heather and I are not on camera. We're doing the work behind scenes. I promise you. It's one of the most important things that we do is to lift the collective up. Now, turn the page. This is where my Virgo self comes in because I'm awesome. As an inspector, when I stand back, there's always a procedure before an inspection, directions, it lines it out, who, what, when, where, how. And the word that caught me in all of that was purity. And we go back here to Virgo energy, purity. Purity. Expectation in their roles, quote unquote, right? And then I was like, well, who the fuck made up these stringent definitions that hurt us so much? Who made up these definitions for what role is where and who and what and why? And guess where I came back to? The doggone chart. The doggone chart. Aries to Cancer. That square point from Chiron to Jupiter. That's where it was the definitions that came from Sag. Where's the sun right now? Sag. Where's the new moon? Sag. Juno, Sag. Awesome. Thanks, Sag. Appreciate all that. F you, man. F you. Heather and I do that a lot. just because there's no other way to express it, right? F you. Fuck you. Just fuck you, man. It's always this way with shadow work, where you have to undo, right? Because there's two sides. There's two sides to everything. We live in one of those polarity places in the universe. There's two sides to everything. And if one side of this thing has been, for me, in my shadow work, the purity expectations of the roles of the other person that I get so angry and upset about, they did me wrong. They fucked up some shit. And they did. But I do the same damn thing. And if we've all been living on this point over here, our challenge with the North Node in Pisces being the awakened ones, us, it is our responsibility to make sure that we get this shit over here on the other side. It is time to balance, because the whole thing's been at a tipping point of an angle like this. You guys ever have those dreams? Sometimes I'll be driving down the road, man, and there's this road that's like, here, we got to go to Armstrong for me to show it to you. Because when I saw this the other week, geez, Louisa, I saw a picture of it and I was like, you mean to tell me we have a road like that in the United States? I think it's in New Mexico. What's that steep? What's the steepest road in the world? Let's look at that picture, because dang. And this is what I think of. There are roads that claim to be even steeper. Why do you play with my emotions? 8, here, let's go to Tree Hugger. 8 of the world's steepest streets by Matt Hickman. Matt Hickman has the same problem I do, because Matt Hickman actually thinks about these roads. I do too. So we're like friends and he doesn't know it. Look at that road. That is awful. I mean, that's okay. I could deal with that, right? But that one's pretty bad. Baldwin Street, and these are bad pictures. I don't like those. That one's a drop. Canton Avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's a pretty good steep drop right there. I'm not kidding you. I don't know. Fjord, Pen, Lek, and Harlech, Wales. That one's not a good one. That's a good one, but I don't think the camera shot was good for that. That's kind of scary. I don't even know. That one, you've got to be playing, and it probably snows there. And it probably snows with the ice and everything. No way, dude. That one's all right. All right, those were terrible. Watch. I'm going to do one that Heather does. I'm going to go do better. I'm so mean, Armstrong. Do better, Armstrong. Oh my God, I'm so mean. All right, Miriam, here's the cleaned source, no nonsense. According Baldwin Street, can we get some better pictures? All right. Let me try Baldwin Street again. Man, you're like, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get here? Baldwin Street, New Zealand. Picture. I just want some images, man. No, these people need to do better than this. That ain't the steepest one I've ever seen. They're looking at it wrong. This is how much I want you to see this inclination. What navigable road in the world is the craziest? Let's just put a different word in there and let's see if the craziest, most dangerous. Oh my God. Y'all need to shut up. Some people are like, nah, that shit ain't real. Bitches, these things are real. This is the one I saw this week. And okay, somebody's like, okay, that ain't real. No, bitches, it's real. It's real. This is the scariest thing. What? You need to stop. Let me go up here. It's called Deception Pass Park. Visit the site. Let me go there. This is unique-weird.weebly.com. Weird roads. Look at this insanity. Now, don't forget, spiritually, we mimic, like all of us mimic this. What's in the 3D, we also have had inside of ourselves as a structure, right? As we elevate and go higher through the 4th D to the 5th D, I think what I have been told by my own spirit guides is that humanity has the capability of reaching the 8D level. But because of our planetary system, we can't really go higher than that. And yes, there are specialists that go to the 12th and the 32nd and do all that stuff. But just humanity is a realm. Let's put it that way. So if Jupiter at 22nd degree is squaring Aries at 22nd degree, and it has been on an inclination that is so beyond, where am I trying to show y'all? Life. I'm trying to give you life. This right here is what I'm trying to express. And this picture is not enough to express the inclination that we are dealing with here. With the square point from Siva to Jupiter to Aries to here, it is a social construct that has come from an ideology passed to us. For me, in my personal life, it has been attached to the purity of the roles that I gave to others. Playing God, I shouldn't have done that, because the truth is, they have every right to stand on their ground and point their finger at me. That right there, for me, looks like that. And somehow, as spiritually awakened people, I need to come at it with that love thing, right? To get this inclination to balance out. I want to just scribble all over it, because I need to turn it into this little happy smile like that. So what does the Sabian symbol say? Aries at 23. A woman in pastel colors carrying a heavy and valuable but veiled load. Because y'all don't sit with me when I cry about this. I mean, you did just now, but I made 2 very strong apologies this week to 2 people I have failed. Because as soon as I saw it, I just went, I'm not gonna let fear choke me in the moment of inspiration. I don't do that. So I see what it is and I go, boom, let's get to work. And I just started typing. I'm not gonna let fear get in the way. And I sent those 2 emails. One of them to a person I fear on this planet more than anybody else, which is the father of my children. From his perspective, I failed at being a proper mother to our children. And from his perspective, he is right. Now, do I think I'm a bad mother? No. But I failed him. I sent the apology. Whether he believes me or not, it's not my lane. It's that I swallowed my fear and I jumped on it. And I apologized. That's my lane. The ball is in his court, whether they do anything with it or not. I sent the apology. Period. Aries, 23 degrees, which as soon as we go direct with Aries, which is coming in the February, January, in a few days, it's going to go direct. It'll flip. It'll move back direct, going direct to Aries 23. What is 23? The rich potential of every moment and situation. I changed the energy and the dynamic of me yearning and hoping and begging and doing all this shit for the past 20 years. And when I sat down and I looked at it, I said, we both had an expectation for each other to be perfect parents to our children. And that doesn't include grace. Not at all. Instead of despairing hope, I flipped the energy to potential. Now that the apology has been made, now the connection, losing all ego over who was right and who was wrong, chipping all that out the door, I changed the energy to rich potential. Now we have a potential to heal. If you believe me, if you can trust that my apology was real and sincere, now the connection has potential. Which gets us the fuck out of that, because that's what we've been living in. Jesus, save us. I ain't doing that. F no. That's a real road. Over water? What the F is wrong with you people? No. Where was I? Oh, yes. Rich potential of every moment and situation. I'm breathing lighter. After having one sad day of, I wake up the next day, I'm breathing lighter. I've accepted the reality that I may not have been a perfect mother. And that might have been the truth from his perspective, right? Assertiveness and desire together give birth to create new possibilities. It feels a hell of a lot better than it did a few days ago. When clear assertive purpose applies to a field of potential, something else is brought into being. Existence is not sterile. It is brimming with a polarized life force that cannot fail to create new life. Man, woman, child is a pattern that repeats universally as artist, materials, artwork, for example, or ideal limitation, inventiveness, which all comes from Aries. It's setting Aries free. A pregnant woman, Cancer, in a light summer dress, right? I don't even know. So, vitality does not find its exaltation in petty things. Gemini. Opinions. Gemini rules opinions. A modest woman with her own burdens is somewhat disinclined to open up. We consider here the basic importance of anchoring ourselves inwardly. In order to attend to our own issues, we must somehow cut ourselves off and establish a wall against intrusion. This can be done elegantly and without giving offense by veiling ourselves and being cautious about opening up to new things. You guys are going to re-listen to this live stream. I shit you not. You guys are going to re-listen to this, and it's going to hit you 27 million ways from Sunday. What I did this week. A 20-year cycle of feeling ostracized, dirty, nasty to these people, my children who hate me and they don't want anything to do with me. And this week, the energy went click. I addressed it. I owned it. I addressed it. I cleared it. And now the energy shift has created to potential for me. And once a family member changes, what happens to the DNA line? You got it, motherfuckers. This is how we get shit done around here. This is how we get shit done. Me and my crew, me and my family. This is how it's done. Everybody else kiss my ass, but this is how my people do it. This is how you do it. This is how I do it. This is why we are awakened. Shit. My family don't know what's coming. And now there's joy. Now there's joy. Questions. That was a really long lecture. Questions. Questions. This is how my crew kicks ass. I love it. Walking you through my thought process. I want you to understand that when we look at the chart, we see our lives there. It's a life. It's not black and white. It has every twist and turn you can imagine. And if we remove the idea of purity expectations and we come back down to earth, this is where the real world steps in, which is why Heather and I named it Real World Astrology. We wanted you to be able to see the chart and to translate it into real things so that you can do what I just did, know where that shit's coming from in your chart and seeing if there's a hang up in the knot. I'm a Virgo sun. You think I ain't been expecting from everybody and you should be perfect? I did that in my youth. Now I'm older. I don't expect so much. Right now, I just want you to breathe in Pisces energy so the trees live. That's all I want from everybody. Please treat everybody nice. Why? Because they're breathing and feeding the trees. Without the breathing, we don't have the trees, and now we don't have a beautiful planet. So knock it off. Breathe. I want y'all to sit in a meditation and just breathe for a while. Great. They're safe. They're protected. Nobody's coming for them. Create conditions where all can meditate and just breathe. Save the planet. Let's get a t-shirt. It's terrible. What do we have here? Expectations, Virgo South Node. Right. My therapy is listening to you. My especial favorite bit is when you say, meanwhile, back at the ranch. I know, because nobody's ever looking over there. It's like be in church and be like, hallelujah. You know, it's like, what you doing? What you doing, Willis? What you doing? Stop beating yourself up. The path of Virgo is bitching hard. It is. Less work, man, more love for yourself. This is love for myself. This is taking an internal energy that I have carried and flipping the script. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because we're on that axis. Those are major lines, and I've needed it. I've needed to flip the energy. It's kind of strange how it's been. You're very weak at the beginning, emotionally. And as you build strength through therapy, working the work, not just talking the whole time, doing the job, doing the hard shit, you climb. You get stronger in the climb. You get stronger in the climb. Years ago, I was suicidal just all the time. I'd take a knife and just all night long. I couldn't sleep for a year, a total year. I couldn't sleep. I was on these weird meds that effed with my brain. My eyes would jiggle. You know, my hands shook all the time. I couldn't sleep because I wasn't supposed to be on that medication. Duh. But the doctors kept pushing it, kept increasing the dosage. And I remember I would just pace. I didn't, it was bad. I hated that time of my life. So the weakness at the beginning is real. However, once you own yourself in fullness, be like, no, this my life matters too. That's where it started. My life matters too. I remember that day. My life matters too. And I started getting to work. So I hope everybody does that. Because the stronger you get to the worst thing that ever happened in your life, you'll flip it. You'll flip the energy. And now I'm on the side of facing the worst fear I had. Now it's gone. The internal. I mean, look at my chart. Moon conjunct Pluto in the first house. I feel it all. I feel the despair. I feel the hurt. I carry it. Not anymore, bitches. I'm going to turn that Pluto. Watch. Tap at it. Drilling at me? No. If we're going to drill for like diamonds. Let's go for it. Embrace understanding. This is Amy. Embrace understanding to forgive ourselves and move forward with healing inner triggers. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Heather says no spiritual bypassing in successful shadow work. Yes, we must practice forgiveness and grace, but also be brave to call ourselves out on our shit. Right. So proud of our girl M for working her program. The other part of this, how do I want to put it? Releasing the anger. A memory can trigger a feeling. And our work is to balance that feeling out, to look at the memory from a different place so that the next time we have that memory, it feels different. It looks different. It sounds different. We transmute little by little, one by one, a memory from something negative. You choose to stop, look at it from different angles until you change it eventually to the feeling that you want to feel around it, which is freedom, which is peace, which is joy. That's called transmutation. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you may deal with a single memory 17 million times, but you're transmuting it the whole time. Do you know what that is? It's the Seven of Cups in the tarot. That's why the Seven of Cups card is an alchemical card. You're taking one substance and you watch in the tarot. And, Pamela, she wanted this done this way. You take a substance on one end, you pour it into this cup, and then it has to be drained and filtered out, and you pour it into the next cup, and it turns into a ball of goo and slime, and then you put it in the next cup, and now it's starting to like form a flat base of something. You put it in the next cup, and now it looks like it could shatter, but it turns into something with a potato in the middle of it, and you go to the next, because the Seven of Cups transmuting feelings like this, eventually you get it into the form like a chemist would. And you don't know what the end form will look like, but you know when you will be satisfied because it'll happen. And emotionally, that's what the Seven of Cups is about. It's saying, okay, I turned it into this thing, doesn't fully satisfy me. Let me turn it into the next thing. You deal with one memory at a time. You choose to pick up your butt and move to northeast by east 260 degrees. And you stand there and look at it and be like, okay, if I was a farmer and I had some goats and a chicken and this thing happened, would it be the end of the world? I don't know. But now I've transmuted it through my imagination, which is Pisces. See what I did there? That's the Seven of Cups. That's how that's supposed to work. That's why I keep telling you, I'm not ready for that step. It's not finished or final until I am satisfied. Seven of Cups leads us to the Eight of Cups, where finally I can stand back and be like, yeah, that looks good, banana bread. Right. Now the cookies are right. Now the emotions around the cookies are right. Now the emotions around the memory is right. Picture perfect Eight of Cups. I'm out of here. Which steps you straight into the Nine of Cups, self-satisfaction. 10 of Cups is when I show it off to y'all, which is what I was doing today. This is the shit I do behind scenes. And I was glad you guys were with me today. Thank you. I love you guys. I need you guys. You need me. I need you. I love you. I love Amba wherever she is. She's doing the same damn thing. Maybe next time we sit down and talk about past lives or whatever you want to. If you send emails to Heather and I, we'll build stuff for you, or I'll pull out my notes and we'll sit down. I don't mind. You guys know that I stay in the realm of what I stay in, what I've studied. And they're good questions, you guys, because you need answers yourselves so that you can transmute the Seven of Cups and finally bring those internal things that even if you're carrying it on a national level, you have national feelings about the United States of America internally. As soon as you transmute that energy internally until you are satisfied about the United States, you do it on a national karmic thing, it turns the energy. If enough of us turn and do that Seven of Cups thing, guess what happens? America changes. We do it on a divine collective level and we go global with that karmic shit. We have hard feelings inside of ourselves about starvation and hunger. Every time I approach my apocalyptic state where I'm in freaking, Ezekiel and Daniel's and Revelation, I'm working divine collective work because there are children that are starving everywhere. That's how this works. Seven of Cups, one by one. We transmute it. This is what the Seven of Cups is. Enough of us do it, and the energy will flip. I love you guys. I need to go because I need to pee. Sorry for saying that on the air, but I am human. And I haven't eaten this morning, and it's 12:41. Oh, look, it's not morning anymore. I love you guys. Please, please, if you love me and you feel that this information is so dang important, share the video. Put it on your posts. Get it out there. That's your job. Not my fault. That's your job. Put it out there. Help us put it out there. People need this stuff. I know they do. And it breaks it down into such an easy way to ingest. They need it. Give it to them, bitches. All right. Thank you for showing up. I love you, Amba. I love you. I love you guys.